श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरिवर्धन की, ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुर धाम की, एक चक्र धाम की, नवदीप मायापुर धाम की, गंगा माई की, जमुना माई की, भक्ति देवी की, कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेटर बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, जय श्री श्री नित्यानंद त्रयोदशी महामहोत्सव की, ताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sarva Rupe Aswadaye Krishna Sevananda Sai Balarama Gaura Sange Nityananda. Caitanya Caritamrta Adilila. The tattva of Nityananda Prabhu is described. Sarvarupe Aswadaye Krishna Sevananda. The soul is hankering for pleasure and the soul is hankering for variety in those pleasures. And therefore, in the first canto, when Vyasadeva is having narration with Narad Muni, Shripad Narad Muni, in that discussion, they say that Smaran upaguhangri puna vihatum icchenana rasagraho janaha. That anybody who has had taste of serving Krishna, Smaran mukundangri upaguhanam puna vihatum icchenana rasagraho janaha. They have experienced a higher taste, and even if they fall, they keep coming back to experience that taste of Krishna consciousness. And therefore in the Kapila, Lord Kapila section, Mother Devahuti and Kapila conversation, Lord Kapil Dev is describing to Mother, because Mother Devahuti is saying to Kardam Muni, Sayam Bhagavata Nunam Manchito Mayadram Yattat Vimuktidam Prapya Na Mumukshe Bandhanat. I have been solidly cheated by Maya because I have received all opportunities for devotional service. Still, I have not taken advantage of that. Vanchito Mayaya Dridam. When one does not receive opportunities, then it's a loss. But when one receives opportunities and doesn't utilize those opportunities, that is the greatest loss. So therefore, then, Mother Devahuti says, I have been fortunate because I had a devotee father, Swayambhuva Manu. I had a devotee husband, Kardama Muni. I had the opportunities for receiving instructions from my father and from all the saints who were visiting my father. All the opportunities were there, but I lost that opportunity. And therefore, I could not get the full benefit of the association of Kardam Muni. And so please at least give me a son who can give me spiritual knowledge. So at that time Kapila is born, and in one of the verses he says, Bhokta bhoga parityakta drishta dosha cha nityasha na ishvarasya ashubham dhakte sve mahimni sthitasya cha. When the soul tries to enjoy sense gratification, bhukta bhoga, it then realizes that this is of no use. Parityakta. Drishta joshata nityasha, seeing the inherent fault in that. Na ishvarasya ashubham dhatte swe mahimni. When the soul realizes that my original constitutional position is in serving Krishna, in experiencing that joy. And therefore, the soul is constantly trapped within this material world, trying to enjoy the senses. So the pleasure-seeking tendency is there, but the pleasure-seeking is directed towards connecting and having a relationship and serving the senses and the sense objects. And therefore, Uddhava, in his prayer, he says, Tapatrayenam bhitasya ghore santapyamanasya bhavadvanisham pashyaminanyat sharanam tamangri dvandvat patrat amritabhivarshat. The threefold miseries, tapatrayena, are entangling me, burning me, and I'm feeling that heat, santapyamanasya. Pashyamina anyat, but I do not see any other method out of this heat, this burning torment, the inferno, the forest fire which is burning. I do not see any other method out of this. Pashyamina anyat sharanam, apart from the shelter of your lotus feet. Tava angri, your lotus feet is the only shelter. Dvandva atapatrat amritabhivarshat. Your lotus feet is like the umbrella which protects me from the influence of the incessant rainfall of material miseries. And therefore, your shelter, your lotus feet is the only shelter for me. Kshut parito yatha dina sarameya graham graham charana vindanti yaddishtam dandam odanam evava. And so, like a stray dog, the conditioned soul is traveling from body after body, searching for bits and pieces of sense gratification. Kshut parito yatha dina. A poor, hungry, poverty-stricken, distressed stray dog. Sarameya graham graham. He goes from one house to another, one place to another, seeking some shelter, seeking some proper, opportunity to connect with Krishna. Sarameya graham graham. चरण विंदंती यद्दिष्टम दंडम ओदनम एव। अरे उधर कहाँ खड़ा है भाई? यहाँ लेक्चर इधर हो रहा है, यहाँ पे हो ना।
साउंड का प्रॉब्लम है,
आवाज
का प्रॉब्लम है,
नहीं सुनाई देता,
ज़्यादा आवाज प्रॉब्लम होता है,
ज़्यादा आवाज प्रॉब्लम होता है। ओके ओके ओके, सुनाई दे रहा लेकिन ना। मैंने कहा क्या हो गया भाई, ऑफेंड हो गया क्या? पीछे चला। So, in this Srimad Bhagavatam, that is the theme being discussed, that for millions of lifetimes, itikritya chintaya pravritta lobham vishayeshu lalasam tvam apramatta sahasavipadyate kshul lelihanum ihakum antaka pramattam itikritya chintaya. Pramattam means highly intoxicated and maddened. सुनाई दे रहा है कि नहीं? Pramattam uchchaihi, very high level of intoxication. Itikritya chintaya, the conditioned soul is constantly meditating. If I do this, I will enjoy like this. If I do this, I will enjoy like that. Itikritya chintaya, constantly meditating on which sense objects to connect with, to enjoy and experience varieties of pleasure. So this is the two main priorities of the conditioned soul within this world: pleasure and variety. Because today you may get one feast, you may be happy, but if you serve the same feast tomorrow, you may be less happy. You serve the same feast day after, you will start complaining. अरे कोई दूसरा नहीं है क्या? You serve the feast fourth day, you will say अरे खिचड़ी दो. Variety. So not only pleasure is important, but variety is important. So tvam apramatta sahasavipadyate. This is in Rudra Gita. Lord Shiva is saying tvam apramatta. But Lord is apramatta. He is sober. He is observing from top all the conditioned souls indulging in intoxication. Sahasa, and suddenly he manifests in front of those intoxicated conditioned souls, maddened with sense gratification, in the form of the snake of death. Kshul lelihano ahir ivakhum antaka. Antaka means death. And akhum means rat. Just like a rat is running and suddenly the snake comes. Kshul lelihano. Lelihano means when the cobra keeps taking its fangs in and out. The dancing fangs of the cobra out of hunger. And suddenly that rat is having no option to go anywhere and is destroyed. So therefore, the final conclusion of all the pleasure in this material world is misery, distress, and death. That's what the material world is all about. And so the gopis are saying, Nihishvam chadanti ganika akalpam rapatim praja adhita vidya acharyam ritivijo tattadakshanam. Saying, my dear Krishna, we aspired for a relationship with you, but the nature of relationship in this world with any person, any position, any object is such that it will be temporary. It's all a temporary illusion. And therefore, Nihishvam Tyajanti Ganika. A prostitute, after getting paid, throws out the customer and is ready for the next customer. There is no affection and no emotion. Akalpam Rapatim Praja. The Praja is angry and upset with the king. After some time, they throw out the same garment they had brought in before. Adhita Vidya Acharyam, when the fees are paid and the student passes out, and gets into his job and career, he forgets the teacher. Ritvijo datta dakshinam, as soon as the Ritvik or the Pujari and priest gets the dakshina, he is off to the next customer. Kaga vita phalam vriksham bhuktva chatitayo graham dagdam mrigam tataranyam jara bhutva ratam striyam. And then he says that when the forest is devoid of fruits, khaga vita phalam vriksham, then all the birds, they run away, they fly away. They are not attached to that. They were there just because of the fruits. Bhuktva cha atitayo graham. And the atithi, the guest, he is also smiling and laughing because he is waiting for the prasad to be served. As soon as prasad is served and the sweet is served and dakshina is given, then he disappears. And the host cannot tell, can you wash pots also? So, dagdham mrigam tatharanyam jara bhutva ratam striyam. And the animals will run away from a forest which is burnt. And once somebody finds another paramour, they give up the old paramour. So the gopis are describing to Krishna the nature of relationships in this world is temporary, constantly changing, and only results in distress and death. Santam samipe ramanam ratipradam vittapradam nityamimam vihaya akamadam dukkha bhayadishoka mohapradam tuchamaham bhajegya. Pingala is a prostitute, and she is saying, what is the effect, final effect of all kinds of sense gratification related to sex life in this world? Akamadam, dissatisfaction, dukkha, distress, bhaya, fear, shoka, lamentation, moha, illusion. All of this is the effect of that. There is no ultimate satisfaction one experiences. So this particular principle we are describing to help understand the glories of Lord Nityananda. Nityananda means eternally blissful. All the so-called efforts for joy in this world is temporary and is filled with misery, and it is filled with mixture of all kinds of distress. Therefore, Lord Nityananda is described as Sarvarupe Asvadaye Krishna Sevananda Sebalarama Gaura Sangye Nityananda. Sarvarupe Asvadaye Krishna Sevananda. The real pleasure one should try to experience in this world is through Krishna Sevananda. By submitting to Krishna's will, by accepting Krishna's will, which is Krishna Seva, that gives the real Ananda. And therefore, Sarva Rupe Asvadaye. Lord Nityananda is demonstrating how, in different ways, that pleasure can be obtained. So, at this point, Kaviraj Goswami is very clear that he has been instructed to come to Vrindavan by Lord Nityananda. And he is the one who gives him the instruction. Aure aure Krishna dasa no koroh bhoy Vrindavane jah taha sarvalabhya hoy. Vrindavane jah, go to Vrindavan, sarvalabhya hoy. You will get all the desirable things there. Please go to Vrindavan. Lord Nityananda Prabhu is instructing him. Preme matta Nityananda kripa avatar uttama adhama kichu no kore bichar. Kaviraj Goswami is saying, my qualification is simply composed out of the pure unalloyed mercy of Lord Nityananda. Preme matta Nityananda kripa avatar. So kripa, which means mercy, magnanimity, compassion, is very closely connected to preme matta, the intoxication of bliss created by love. The intoxication of bliss created by love. Right? Fifth canto also describes Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yat indriyat apnoti. Sense gratification also creates some kind of madness, pramatta. But what kind of madness is this? Preme matta. It is a madness caused by prema. Nityananda kripa avatar. So when one is maddened with ecstasy of Krishna preme, then what happens? The very apparently contradictory or ironic nature of love of Krishna is, to the extent one experiences deeper, greater, more authentic, condensed bliss within, the more one becomes aware of the distress and the misery of others, which may appear contradictory. Because when one is joyful, he sees the whole world joyful. But the more one becomes ecstatic, the more one realizes how people are suffering and one wants to help them. So that is what is known as Kripa Avatar. Preme matta Nityananda Kripa Avatar Uttama Adhama Kichu no Kore Bichar. And therefore, Lord Nityananda does not make any distinction between who is higher, who is lower, and gives mercy openly. And therefore, this is his position of indiscriminately spreading Krishna prema. Sahajai Nityananda Krishna premodam Prabhuragyaya koila yaha taha premadan. So Caitanya Caritamrta describes that Nityananda Prabhu is Sahaja Prema Uddam, maddened in ecstasy of prema. So when one is maddened in ecstasy, one may expect that person to be whimsical. One may expect that the person cannot be under anybody's control. Typically, whenever you hear the word mad, you assume that person is out of control, cannot be controlled, cannot be subdued, cannot be brought under anybody's instruction. So Sahajai, naturally, Nityananda Krishna Prema Uddam. Uddam means he is in maddened state of ecstasy of Krishna Prema. In such a state of maddened ecstasy, one may expect this person cannot listen to anybody. Because when somebody behaves in an erratic manner and you get bewildered and say, why is he behaving like this? Oh, transcendental. Ecstasy में, भाव में आ गया है. लेकिन मार क्यों रहा है? वो भी भाव. So one assumes Transcendental ecstasy means whimsical behavior, uncontrolled behavior. So Pushkar Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, who's a painter, was one day sitting in Vrindavan. So as making one evening, sun was setting, he liked the scene, he made a nice evening scene of the sun setting in Vrindavan forest. And then after making that nice landscape, he thought, but this is supposed to be, Krishna's paintings for Prabhupada. So how can I just make a landscape without putting Krishna? So as an afterthought, he put Krishna also there. And then he showed it to Prabhupada. Prabhupada looked at that painting and Prabhupada said, which shloka is this from? Because every painting in BBT is from a particular shlok from Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada could immediately understand that this guy has done in his own mood something and trying to present to me. Prabhupada said, which shloka? And Pushkar Prabhu said, Srila Prabhupada, Krishna's pastimes are unlimited. Prabhupada said, you are limited. You just follow whatever shlok I am telling you to do and make paintings from there, not your own independent thing. So sometimes one may think, oh, he's in ecstasy. Ecstasy means out of control. But this verse says, Sahajai Nityananda Krishna Prema Uddam Prabhur Agyaya Koila Yaha Taha Premadan. But the interesting thing about Lord Nityananda, that although he was in ecstasy, Prabhur Agyaya, he was always under the control of Lord Chaitanya's instruction. And whatever preaching he was doing of Premadan, giving the prema here and there, was under Prabhur Agyaya, under the instruction of Lord Chaitanya. He was not beyond the instruction. He did not consider himself beyond rules and regulations and discipline and protocols and control. Even Lord Nityananda, after spending 20 years in all the holy places across Bharat, he never uttered a single word of preaching, because till he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nandanacharya's house, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then instructed him, then only he started preaching. Prabhur Agyaya. So he was constantly under the instruction of Lord Chaitanya and always following that instruction. That was the most important thing. So one couple, they got married and they came to Srila Prabhupada for blessings. It was a young couple. So Prabhupada asked the lady, she was hardly 18, 19 years old. So Prabhupada asked her, so you just got recently married, whom do you love more, Krishna or your husband? So the lady started crying. So Prabhupada got bewildered. Sorry, did I offend her? Or did I say that she's crying? And Prabhupada said, what happened? Why you are crying? I just asked, whom do you love more, Krishna or your husband? And the lady said, neither. Because I just got married and I just got introduced to bhakti also. So I have no feelings either for Krishna or for the husband. Prabhupada said, that is sadhana bhakti, where you just begin the process of following. You follow the process. Feeling will come later. Don't go behind feeling. Focus on following, not feeling. And therefore, Prabhur Agyaya Koila. Preaching must be under instruction, apart from inspiration. Right? And so Srila Prabhupada, 1972, meets Bhakti Rakshak Siddhardev Goswami in Navadvip, Mayapur. And Prabhupada has his own disciples with him, and they are having a conversation. And Srila Prabhupada looks at Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj, his senior god brother, and says, last 6 years, I have been traveling to America and other places, and now so many Western disciples are there. But actually, I just did that because it was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's instruction. Now the mission is growing, and they need more and more instruction. Why don't you become the Acharya? Prabhupada invited him. You become the Acharya. The disciples of Prabhupada got jhatka. What is he saying, Baba? If we accept, what will happen? And they were all looking at this conversation. And Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj said, no. I don't think I am capable of doing this. I cannot handle all the Western people and this and that. And then he recused himself. And Prabhupada was again and again pushing him, no, please, you come. You join us, be part of this. And when the whole thing ended, at that time, Prabhupada told I think it was Shrutakirti Prabhu, said, Prabhupada, how could you offer like this? And Prabhupada said, in 1930s, towards the end, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told me that amongst all my disciples, Bhakti Rakshak Siddhar Maharaj is very, very advanced. Very advanced. His realizations are very, very advanced. But he is shy. So you should try to get him out of his shyness and make him come out and preach more. So this was in 1934-35. Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada told. So Srila Prabhupada told Shrutakirti Prabhu, a spiritual master's instruction may be postponed, but not forgotten. So from 35 to 75, 40 years later, Prabhupada was still trying. The instruction he received in 1935, he still kept in mind because he felt it is my duty. And so he was offering the whole of ISKCON. Said, you please come. So this is a very important principle that one must do things under instruction. Prabhur Agyay Koila Yaha Taha Premadan. So when you hear pastimes of Nityananda, he is, dancing on the trees for months together, or doing this with Jagai and Madhai and rolling and this and that, you may forget those aspects of his personality which are relevant to you and me. Because as soon as you hear those pastimes, immediately the mind says, "Arey, apan to kar hi nahi sakte ho. Wo to nityanand ke liye." But what about us? Yes, that was his instruction. Chaitanya seva, Chaitanya gao lao, Chaitanya nam, Chaitanya ye bhakti kore sai mora pran. His instruction to everybody was Chaitanya seva, serve Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya gao, sing the glories of Lord Chaitanya. Love Chaitanya nam, take the names of Lord Chaitanya. And then he says, Chaitanya ye bhakti kore sai mora pran. One who does the bhakti of Chaitanya is my actual prana. And so Srila Prabhupada mentions, preaching Krishna consciousness means glorification of Krishna, not self-glorification. Preaching means glorifying Krishna. If Krishna is glorified, and Krishna name is coming, that is very good. That is preaching. Giriraj Maharaj, he was in Chennai. At that time, Devanand's picture came out. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Many of us got introduced to ISKCON through that. Devanand is our Pad Pradashak Guru. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So, when that movie came out, Giriraj Maharaj was in Chennai. And everybody was making fun. Dammarudam, Dammarudam. Whenever they would see the devotees passing by, they'll start making, some kind of funny gestures. So he couldn't understand what was going on. Dammarudam, Dammarudam, they were saying Hare Krishna. So he asked one local guy, hey, what are they saying? What is this movie all about? What did that song say? So that local fellow was a Tamil guy, he didn't know Hindi well. He said the song says when you chant Hare Krishna, you become happy. You will forget all your misery. So Giriraj Maharaj thought, that's very good preaching. It's an excellent movie. So when he went to Calcutta, he went to the theatre to see the movie. So the first scene they saw kirtan. And he thought, oh wow, very good. Then next scene they show everybody taking drugs. Then he understood there was a translation mistake. He comes out very, very depressed and talks to Prabhupada and says, Srila Prabhupada, what is this? We are sincerely trying to preach Krishna consciousness. And they are trying to, condemn us, make us feel that we are doing something negative. All of this negative publicity is not good. This was 1972. And Prabhupada said, don't worry. In due course of time, they will forget Dammarudam. And the only thing they will remember is Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. And so Prabhupada had that vision. And Prabhupada would say, in any article which is condemning Hare Krishna, count the number of times Krishna is coming. It will have its effect. And therefore, in due course of time, we found that the government was against ISKCON in the initial days. And then in Delhi temple opening, Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee comes and then he opens. And then after that, now recently Prime Minister Modi came and he opened the ISKCON temple. So it takes time for Krishna's holy name to create that transformation and effect. So one has to remain patient. So Srila Prabhupada writes, what was the difference between Nityananda Prabhu and the Goswamis? Nityananda Prabhu preached amongst the fallen masses and the Goswamis preached among the elite. Aimat loke Caitanya bhakti lahoyailam Dina hina nindaka sabari nistarila. Dina, hina and nindaka. Lord Nityananda was constantly preaching amongst the Dina, Hina and Nindaka. Jadyapi Nityananda surabadi jai tathapi amare hao Nityananda rai. And so Vrindavan Das Thakur says, even if I see Lord Nityananda coming out of a bar, liquor bar, Jadyapi Nityananda Prabhu surabadi jai. If I see Nityananda coming out of a liquor bar, Tathapi amare hoye Nityananda rai. Still he remains my worshipable Lord. Because I know that he has entered that bar not to drink, but to make others drink the nectar of the holy name. So Lord of Nityananda Prabhu's pastimes cannot be imitated. We can only worship them from a distance. So now Kaviraj Goswami also describes the history of his writing Caitanya Caritamrta. about how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes were described originally by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. So if Vrindavan Das Thakur already written, then why he has to write again? What is the need? Does he want to prove that he is superior? Does he want to bring another angle? So he says, Chaitanya Chandrira Lila Ananta Apar Varnite Barnite Grantha Hoila Bistar. Says, I started writing about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, but as I continued writing, the volume of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes was so much that I only reached till Lord Chaitanya taking sannyas at Katwa. Nityananda Leela Varnane Hoila Avesh Chaitanya Rashesh Leela Rahila Vashesh. So Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur became completely absorbed in glorifying pastimes of Lord Nityananda. Nityananda Leela Varnana Hoila Avashesh. Avesh. He was in Avesh describing Lord Nityananda's pastimes. And therefore, Chaitanya Sheshlila Hoila Avashesh. So many Nityananda's pastimes that ultimately I could not cover Lord Chaitanya's pastimes in Jagannath Puri. And therefore, Devahuti Kripa Koila Agya Koila More Gaurange Rashesh Lila Varnibare Tore. So all the devotees in Vrindavan, they gave me instruction. Please describe Lord Chaitanya's pastimes in Puri. Gaurange Rashesh Lila Varnibare Tore. More Agya Korila Sabe Karuna Koryam Tau Sabara Bole Likhi Nirlaja Hoya. Because all the devotees instructed me, then I became shameless. And so I decided to take on this responsibility. Vaishnavera Agya Paya Chintita Antare Chait Madana Gopala Gela Agya Magibare. So I was confused that there are so many instructions by the devotees, which one to follow. Originally, Lord Nityananda sent me to Vrindavan. And he said, you go to Vrindavan, all your desires will be fulfilled. All auspiciousness will manifest. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has been very diligently, loyally staying in Vrindavan. But he has not been impatient. He has not been impertinent. He has not been impudent. Thinking again and again, why did Nityananda send me, Baba? Kitna saal time pass ho gaya? Nothing is happening, nothing is happening. Why am I supposed to be here? So Nityananda just told him, go to Vrindavan. The time he told him to go to Vrindavan, and when the time he really got the seva for which he was supposed to be there was a long gap of 70 years. So sometimes one has to wait for 60, 70 years before the seva for which you are meant to be doing is actually manifesting. So the important thing is, the seva will always remain. Whether you remain or not, that's the question. Nityananda Prabhu has sent him way back. And after many, many years, this seva is coming. So therefore, when Lord Nityananda Prabhu sent him, he did not tell him that I am sending you because in future you will write Caitanya Caritamrta. That is your exact seva. So therefore, the only clarity which the Vaishnavas have is that Krishna and the Guru Parampara, they know what is best for me. And they are waiting to gift me the most precious jewel of seva. What is that seva? When that seva will manifest? How it will manifest? To get the answers to all of that, one requires utsahan, nishchayat, dhairyat. So therefore, the biggest disaster which can happen in the Vaishnava community is when the devotee, out of impatience, leaves the line. Why? The line is too long. Whether I will get prasadam or not. You have to stay in the line. And even when you come in the line, what do you first get? Full plate, empty plate? Empty plate. When you get empty plate, you can't feel offended. Itni der khada raha, khali plate diya. You have to begin with empty plate. Then only one by one things will manifest. So therefore, one cannot expect everything to just come as one expects before time. And so here, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu also plays an important role in bringing Lord Chaitanya back to Puri. Lord Chaitanya takes sannyas on 14th January 1510, Makar Sankranti. And then immediately travels towards Vrindavan. The only reason Lord Chaitanya took sannyas was to go to Vrindavan. But Lord Nityananda realized, if Lord Chaitanya goes to Vrindavan and leaves all the devotees in Bengal, they will all die out of separation. So Nityananda Prabhu tells one cowherd boy, when Lord Chaitanya asks, which is the way to Vrindavan? Instead of showing towards Vrindavan, point towards Bengal. So Lord Chaitanya is in ecstasy, is dancing. And after his sannyas, Paratmanishtha matra besha dharan Mukunda sevaye hoye sansara taran. Paratmanishtha, the purpose of sannyas means only one, Mukunda seva. How can I serve Lord Mukunda constantly? As soon as that cowherd boy meets Lord Chaitanya says, which way is Bengal? He points towards this. And Lord Chaitanya reaches Bengal. He comes near Ganga in Shantipur. He looks at Nityananda and says, Vrindavan. Nityananda Prabhu nods his head. Lord Chaitanya jumps into the Ganga, thinking it is Yamuna. And as he is swimming in the Yamuna, in the Ganga, thinking it is Yamuna, Advaita Acharya comes, there with a boat. Lord Chaitanya looks at Advaita and says, hey Advaita, you are in Vrindavan. Advaita said, this is not Vrindavan, this is Shantipur. This is not Yamuna, this is Ganga. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears, at that point, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes very upset and he says, Prabhu kohe Nityananda amare vanchila, Ganga ke aniya more Jamuna kahila. Nityananda Prabhu, he has brought me to Ganga saying this is Yamuna. And that is when, before that, Lord Chaitanya looks at Ganga and then chants the verse glorifying Yamuna, which we sing in Yamuna Arti. Chidananda bano sadananda suno paraprema patri drava brahmagatri aghanam lavitri drava kshema dhatri pavitri kriyanno vapurmitra putri. So this comes in the third chapter of the Madhya Lila, when Lord Chaitanya is at Shantipur and is in ecstasy. Advaita Acharya is also no less. And he says, my dear Lord, here the protocol is after Prayag, when Ganga and Jamuna are together,
The western bank is called Yamuna, eastern bank is called Ganga. You are bathing on the western bank, that is Yamuna only. So technically it is Yamuna. So at that point, Advaita Acharya brings Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu home. And when they bring both of them home, Prabhupada in that section describes what is the qualities of an ideal grahastha. And Prabhupada says the duty of a householder is the wife cooks, the husband offers to the deities at home. And third, the husband then advertises that the food is prepared, invites guests, and when the guests come in, he serves. So this, Prabhupada says, is called sacrifice or yajna, by which one regulates one's greed, and therefore he says this is how the graha becomes grahastha or ashram. Because he observes the regulative principles followed in any temple. That is Advaita Acharya's house. And so in the house of Advaita Acharya, he has made a big feast. Madhye pita grita sikta shalyanyerastu charidike vyanjana donga aramugdha soup. 750 kilos of rice he has made. One for Gaur, one for Nitai, and one for the deities together. 750. That is how much we cook in the Kumbh Mela. He has made that. And when he cooks this, and he's surrounding that by 150, 200 different pots filled with vegetables. And the rice is in the form of a mountain, high quality rice. And on top he makes a small hole and fills that with golden colored ghee. And the ghee seeps into that rice. And when the sun rays hit that, golden effulgence is created. Today is fasting till noon. But that's the, amazing hospitality which Advaita Acharya is providing. And then Advaita Acharya goes out and holds Gaur Nitai by hand and brings them in. Dui Prabhulaya Acharya Gela Bhitar Ghare Prasada Dekhiya Prabhur Anand Antare. Lord Chaitanya first thinks this is all for the deities at the home, so he's in ecstasy. He said, wow, this is how much you are serving the deities, so nice, wonderful. And then Lord Chaitanya looks at Nityananda and looks at Advaita and says, Oiche anna je Krishna ke karaye bhojan, janme janme shire dharu tahara charan. If anybody serves Krishna and the deities at home like this, by cooking for the pleasure of the deities, Krishna consciousness is so simple, you do not have to stop your bhojan. How do you convert your bhojan into bhajan? When the intention behind that bhojan is for pleasure of Krishna. All you have to do is change your intention. Every house has to cook. There are 30 crore homes in India. Every home has to cook. But every cooking must be done with the intention of pleasing Krishna. As soon as you make that change, Lord Chaitanya says, Aiche anna je Krishna ke karaye bhojan. The intention behind that bhojan is Krishna ke. Lord Chaitanya says, if someone does like that, janme janme shire dharo tahara charan. Life after life, I take the dust of the feet of such a devotee upon my head. Just by offering bhoga at home. Like that. So now, at this time, Advaita tells Lord Chaitanya, please eat. Lord Chaitanya says, Arey, I cannot eat. How can I eat so much? So, Lord Chaitanya is saying, I cannot eat so much. Nityananda Prabhu says, what is this? Today I have to fast because hardly anything is made here. I've been called for fast or what? Acharya kahe tumi hao tairthika sannyasi kabu phala moola khao kabhu upavasi. And Advaita says to Nityananda, you are constantly traveling like a sannyasi. Sometimes you get kandamul, sometimes you get this. Why you are making such a complaint? Daridra brahmane ghare ye paila mushtye ka anna ihate santushta hao chhada lobhaman. Don't be greedy. Be satisfied, whatever you are getting. Don't complain. Nityananda looks at him, hey, why you are calling me like this? And Advaita looks at him and says, Bhrashta avadhuta tumi, udara bharite, sannyasalayach bhuji brahmana dandite. You are a Bhrashta avadhut. Reject Paramahamsa. Only reason you have taken sannyas is to give trouble to grihasthas like me. That is the only purpose. And therefore, Prabhupada says, the difference of opinion is between Smarta Brahmana and a Goswami. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through Advaita Nityananda Prabhu, is demonstrating that it is practically impossible for a Smarta Brahman to understand the level of Paramahamsa like Nityananda. One may think, oh, it is a Smarta Brahman and some kind of argument going on like that. So Advaita Acharya looks at Nityananda and says, so much of rice is there, just eat. Stop complaining. Nityananda takes some piece of rice, eats a little bit, and part of the jhuta he hits on the ground. When he hits that on the ground, take away your food, he says like that. Some of that jhuta hits Advaita, who is a pure Brahman. And from Brahmanical perspective, jhuta touching means it is muchi, impure. But what is Advaita Acharya's reaction? Bhata duichari lage, acharya re ange, bhata ange laya, acharya nache bahurange. He starts dancing in ecstasy that I have been touched by the Avadhut's jhuta. And what does Advaita say? Avadhutere jhuta lagila mora ange, parama pavitra more koila aidhange. I have been supremely purified by this jhuta. Which means he accepts Lord Nityananda's, Paramahamsa's state. And therefore, the Smarta cannot understand what a Paramahamsa is, but the Paramahamsa Vaishnava, through their association, can create total transformation through their Bhaktapada Dhuliya, Bhaktapada Jal, Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha 18 Mahabal. And therefore, that Paramahamsa status has to be understood. Tore Nimantrana Kori, Paino Tarafal, Tora Jati Kula Nahi Sahaje Pagal. That you don't have any Jati, any Kul, you are mad. And therefore, you have thrown remnants of food at me. And in this way, Nityananda also responds back to Advaita. And he says, Nityananda bole, Ei Krishnera Prasad, Ihake Jhuta Kahile Tale Koila Aprad. You are calling Krishna's Prasad Jhuta? You have made aprad. Now how you will do the prayashchit for this aprad? शतेक सन्यासी यदि करह भोजन तबे ए अपराध होइबे खंडन. Call 100 sannyasis and feed them. That will be your prayashchitta. And Advaita Acharya says, I am not going to call any more sannyasis like you. By calling sannyasis like you, all my dharma, karma, everything is getting destroyed. And finally, this joking ends, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ultimately honors that prasadam. And Kaviraj Goswami says, Acharya re shraddha bhakti griha sampadhane sakala safala hoila prabhura aradhane. How one can become an ideal grihastha? Acharya re shraddha, your faith, bhakti, devotion, griha, house, sampat, property, dhana, wealth, sakala safala hoila, prabhur aradhane. Everything becomes successful if offered in the service of the Lord. And then the next description of Lord Nityananda is in the Sakshi Gopal pastime described by Lord Nityananda. So one may think, Sakshi Gopal pastime is all about somebody did not get married. He could not get the girl in marriage, so he's upset. And he brings Krishna in the whole picture. That is not good. Why is Nityananda speaking about this pastime? So it is not a karmakandi pastime. This pastime is about how a word spoken in front of the deity has to be respected. Vows and promises made in front of the absolute truth must be considered absolute. Eibakya sakshi mora ache mahajan yarabakya satya kurimani tribhuvan. And the young Brahmana says, my objection is not because I'm not getting this girl in marriage. My objection is because the older Brahmana has made a promise in front of the deities. And so Srila Prabhupada says, what was the wealth which the young Brahmana had? And this is the only wealth we should have in Krishna consciousness. The three types of wealth which we should acquire in Krishna Bhakti is belief in Krishna's authority, acceptance of Krishna's words, and faith in Krishna's consistency. The success of spiritual life is to just get these three assets. Belief in Krishna's authority, acceptance of Krishna's words, and faith in Krishna's consistency. Which means if he is Bhaktavatsal, he will always be Bhaktavatsal. He is consistent. So to have faith in Krishna's consistency, to have acceptance in Krishna's words, and to have belief in Krishna's authority, this is the real asset. And this is the real gain. So if you have spent 5 years in Krishna consciousness, 10 years in Krishna consciousness, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, how will you evaluate how much have I gained? What have I earned in this Sangha? Has my belief in Krishna's authority grown? Has my acceptance of Krishna's words increased? Has my faith in Krishna's consistency become solid? This, as per the Gita, is yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate na adhikam tata yasmin statana dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. And therefore, this is the consciousness. And so, that Brahmana says, Kanya baba mora mane iha nahi dukh, brahmana ira pratigyayay iha bada dukh. I am not worried that I am not getting this girl in marriage. I am only worried that my elder god brother, he is breaking his vows and words which he has given in front of Krishna. And therefore, a Vaishnava extends oneself even at the cost of being misunderstood by others. So when we come to the point when we think, this fellow just does not listen to me, my words are having no effect on this fellow, I am trying my best to change his personality, change his behavior, to improve him, to protect him from distress and disaster and fall down. And in spite of my repeated warnings, the guy just doesn't listen. Do I feel helpless? Yes. Should I become hopeless? No. What is the hope? Prayer in front of the deities. When all other efforts fail, when our words fail to make an impact in changing somebody, there is still the trump card. We can always pray to the deities. And when we pray to the deities, the prayer of the devotees to the deities have powerful impact. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. And then the Lord can always create transformation within. And therefore, this is a pastime which Lord Nityananda himself is speaking in the Caitanya Caritamrta when the Lord Chaitanya is coming towards, Jagannath Puri. And then when the Lord Chaitanya is trying to go to South India, Nityananda Prabhu is saying, I will come with you. Lord Chaitanya says, you broke my danda in 3 places. If you come with me, you will only create trouble for me. So Lord Chaitanya says, at least you take somebody with you. And he asks him to take Kal Krishna Das. Tumar hasta doi baddha naam ganane jalapatra bhairvasa vahi bekarnane. So Nityananda Prabhu is the one who forces Lord Chaitanya to take Kal Krishna Das. And then Kal Krishna Das gets into trouble. And Lord Chaitanya is very upset. Are you send this fellow with me? He was supposed to be my das, I had to become his das. And bring him back. Now take him away. So Lord Chaitanya rejects him. But Nityananda Prabhu doesn't reject. Nityananda Jagadananda Mukunda Damodar Charjana Yukti Kare Karilo Antar again engage him back in serving and bringing message to Sachi Devi and the devotees in Bengal. So Nityananda Prabhu, he is always in the mood of serving Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in every possible way. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally tells Nityananda Prabhu that you should always stay in Bengal. Nityananda kahe Prabhu shunah Shripad, e ame magi tumi karah prasad, प्रतिवर्ष नीलाचले तुम्ही न आशिबा गौड़ रहे मोर इच्छा सफल करिबा. Lord Chaitanya came to Bengal, from Bengal to Puri, and then in Puri from 1516 to 1534, 18 years Lord Chaitanya stayed. In all those 18 years, devotees from Bengal came, but Lord Nityananda came only 1 year. 17 years Nityananda was not allowed to come. So Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya had association with each other for only limited period of time. Just before sannyas, and then after sannyas for some time in Puri. From the time Lord Chaitanya left for South India, from that point onwards hardly there was any association. So Lord Nityananda Prabhu's association with Lord Chaitanya is driven by the mission, not by sentiment. So Prabhupada asked in the purport, was it just fair on behalf of Lord Chaitanya to tell Nityananda, don't come? So Prabhupada says, one was a faithful person, servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, must execute his order even if he has to sacrifice going to Jagannath Puri to see Lord Jagannath. It is a greater fortune to carry out Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order than to satisfy one's senses by seeing Jagannath. Preaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult is more important than staying in Puri for one's own personal satisfaction. Therefore, sincere devotees must carry out Lord Chaitanya's desire. One should not act whimsically for one's own personal satisfaction. And Prabhupada says, this order comes down from the parampara. The spiritual master presents this order to the disciple, and it is the duty of the disciple to carry out the order of the Guru worldwide. And Lord Chaitanya says to Nityananda, only you can fulfill this desire. Taha siddhi kari hena anyena dekhiye amara dushkara karma toma hoite hoye. Only you can perform this task. I cannot find anyone who can fulfill this mission. So Prabhupada says, Lord Chaitanya was preaching to the classes. Nityananda was preaching to the masses and the fallen. Right? Prabhu kahe tumi aar na kori sa paap jagai madhai bole aar na re baap. That we will no longer perform this sin. So Prabhupada says, what was not possible for Lord Chaitanya was made possible by Lord Nityananda. So Prabhupada says, if one is true to Gaur Nitai's seva in disciplic succession, he can even excel Lord Nityananda Prabhu's service. Nityananda delivered Jagai and Madhai, but a servant of Lord Nityananda can deliver millions of Jagais and Madhais. That is the benediction of the Guru Parampara. So Prabhupada says, by the grace of Vishnu, a Vaishnava can render better service than Vishnu. This is the special prerogative of a Vaishnava. And he gives the example of Arjun and Hanumanji. And Prabhupada says, if we simply follow Lord Chaitanya's instruction, two things. Follow Lord Chaitanya's instruction. Follow Lord Chaitanya's instruction. And number two, follow in Lord Nityananda's footsteps. So follow Lord Chaitanya's instruction and follow in Lord Nityananda's footsteps. The Krishna consciousness movement can advance, and even more difficult tasks can be performed by preachers remaining faithful to Gaur Nitai. All you have to do is remain faithful to the parampara. It is the parampara who will get things done. You just have to remain on the train. Don't jump out of the train. The train will reach the destination. The Acharya Parampara is the train which will take us. We have to make sure we do not whimsical and jump out. Nityananda kahe, Ami deha tumi pran, deha pran bhinna nahe eito praman. Nityananda says, my dear Lord, I am the body, your instruction is my soul. Your instruction is my soul. Soul keeps the body alive. The Guru Parampara's Ichha, will, is the soul which keeps the sadhaka alive in a spiritual life. And what happens? Achintya shakti karatumi tahara ghatan ye karah nahi tumi nahi kaniyam. And when that sadhaka, the disciple, submits his own plan, his own desire, his own inclinations, surrenders to the will of the parampara, something unique happens. Achintya Shakti, inconceivable potency and power is released. Such power is released which makes the impossible become possible. Ye karah sei kori nahika niyam. So Prabhupada says that is how the entire creation was built. When Brahma heard the three words, tapa, 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 the creation is built not by strategy, but by submission of Brahma to the will of Krishna. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. By the grace of Krishna, the original parampara, Brahma could build the creation. So therefore, submission trumps strategy any day in Vaishnava Sangha. Lord Nityananda is demonstrating this. If one follows the instruction of the Supreme Lord, the living entity, even though insignificant, can perform impossible task. That is a problem statement. How can the insignificant perform something impossible? By giving up one's impudence and following the instructions. When one follows the instructions release inconceivable power. And by that, the impossible becomes possible. So although the Lord wants to give all credit to his devotee, the devotee doesn't take any credit. And he gives all the credit to the Lord. So this is a beautiful reciprocation between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. So you must know that every year hundreds of devotees from Bengal came to have association of Lord Chaitanya. And in all those years, from 1516 all the way to 1534, Nityananda Prabhu was there only for 1 year. And for 17 years, he did not have the luxury, the privilege of having Lord Chaitanya's association in Puri. And there is no record of Lord Nityananda meeting Lord Chaitanya again after that. So from the point they met each other in Nandanacharya's house till Lord Chaitanya goes to South India and comes back, the association between Gaur Nitai, who are always on the altar, the actual association during the pastime was always very sporadic and very limited. And therefore, on Lord Nityananda's appearance day, let us pray that we are able to overcome our egoistical tendencies of thinking that I know better than the Guru Parampara and I can work out things better through my strategy, and rather I should depend submissively on the unlimited flow of power and mercy which is coming down the Guru Parampara. And Lord Nityananda Prabhu, being a representative and expansion of Balramji, is very much embodiment of that Guru Parampara himself. And himself demonstrated the example of an ideal disciple who is so perfectly disciplined that he never crossed the boundaries of behavior protocols, services expected from him, and followed the instruction of spreading Krishna consciousness in Bengal and the east of India in separation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu till the very end. And these are some of the amazing pearls which Srila Prabhupada has shared with us out of his causeless mercy. Taking a pause in the translation to the Caitanya Caritamrta in 1972 of the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada paused on translating Bhagavatam and started translating Caitanya Caritamrta in English, relying mostly on Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's commentaries. And between 1972 to 74, in the 2 years, Srila Prabhupada gave us the entire Caitanya Caritamrta, because he knew that this is our home product. This is our own parampara, the Gaudiya parampara, and we must have that original words of Prabhupada in full. And Srila Prabhupada got the BBT to publish 18 volumes in 2 months in Los Angeles, which was almost impossible. But Prabhupada made those devotees do that and said anyone who was part of that exercise would go back home, back to Godhead. Till then, Caitanya Caritamrta was only available for those who were proficient in Bengali. So for the first time, the Caitanya Caritamrta became available in the English language. And Prabhupada completed the Caitanya Caritamrta translation and commentary on Rama Ekadashi in 1974 in ISKCON Shishirada Rasbihari Temple, Juhu, which Rama Ekadashi comes during Kartik. And that's when the Caitanya Caritamrta translation and commentaries were completed. So without Srila Prabhupada's commentaries in English of the Caitanya Caritamrta, we would be completely bereft of entry into this. And without His Holiness Radhanath Swami speaking to us in Chopati about the glories of Lord Chaitanya, we would not even know who is Lord Chaitanya. We would not even feel excited about who is Lord Chaitanya. And all those yatras to Mayapur, Srivas Angan and Kolavet Sridhar, all those places, from an external point of view, those places don't appear to be very attractive or exciting. But we got excited because we saw Radhanath Swami excited. He's going on giving lecture 3 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours, sitting there. So what excited us is what is exciting him. Why is he so excited? So out of that curiosity, we entered into that. Otherwise, even today if you go, you may not even take notice of that place. All those, wonderful holy places in Bengal. And then 2003, December, he took us to Bangladesh. We have our devotees from Bangladesh. So even in 2000, I tell in all the podcasts that we had to change in pant shirt then also. So Radhanath Swami was in pant shirt. Indradumna Maharaj was in pant shirt. All of us were in pant shirt. Saffron was, they said, dangerous to go there. So we crossed Haridaspur, border crossing, came to Benapol, and then Rup Sanatan place. From there we went to Narottam Das Thakur, Rajshahi. Then we went to Chittagong, Chittagram. Then we went to Sylhet, went to Dhaka. And then finally we took Biman Air flight. And Radhanath Swami had his boarding pass. Even till date, he has kept that boarding pass in songbook. And I was shocked in 2006, some program in America, after the kirtan, he took out boarding pass, he told all the American people, I went Bangladesh. I went to Bangladesh. And everyone said, oh wow. Why? Lord Chaitanya's Leelas, his places. It was so cold, January of 2004, in Rajshahi, Narottam Das Thakur's place. And we were only 15 brahmacharis and Indradumna Maharaj. And Maharaj was going on preparing for almost 2 days for giving lecture to 15 of us without microphone. And he gave 6-hour lecture on Thakur Narottam Das. And there was not proper toilet also. This nowadays, of course, Bangladesh, much more advanced and a lot of things have happened. But that time, no facility, no this, no nothing. I could not think of Narottam Das Thakur. I was thinking of hot water only. And here he is preparing and preparing and preparing, and he is going on speaking. So, because Lord Chaitanya's pastimes and all of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, original, everything started from there. So it is because of the love and affection for Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda and the pastimes, then only you feel, okay, there is something within these pastimes, so we should also connect to them. So we cannot forget the contribution of Radhanath Swami Maharaj for inspiring us in the direction of looking at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes and Nityananda Prabhu's pastimes and making us take notice of these pastimes. Coming from Chicago, no connection with anything like this. And when you hear Jayapatak Maharaj speaking about Gaur Leela, you cannot imagine that how can somebody have such intense feeling, right? So one time Jayapatak Maharaj and Radhanath Maharaj were talking to each other in Bhaktivedanta hospital. So, Radhanath Swami said, I am from Highland Park, Chicago, Illinois. And Jayapatak Maharaj said, I am from Wisconsin, which is right next door. And he said, my mother used to tell me that Wisconsin has already ISKCON within it. So you were always in ISKCON. And his legal name was Gordon. So he said, my name was actually Gaurdhan. Gaurdhan. So Radhanath Swami said, I am from Illinois, therefore I am always ill. So, how can two people coming from some remote corner in America get such affection and attraction for Lord Chaitanya's pastimes in Bengal? And, Dhaka is the place where Muslim League was born in 1905. Last 100 years, the whole of Bengal has been primarily political only. Hardly any new devotional uprising has happened. Only political uprising only. So it was practically impossible for any of us to take the devotional essence coming from that Bengal seriously unless we had seen people like Radhanath Swami, Bhakticharu Swami, Jayapatak Maharaj and others bringing attention that there may be a political Bengal, but the essence is the devotional Bengal. Because the news agencies are not promoting information of the devotional Bengal. I'm in ISKCON for 30 years. First time news channels are interested to take interview, not to hear about Lord Chaitanya's glories, but to hear about something political. So that is the only interest. So who is interested in the devotional Bengal? That is why we are very fortunate to get that Sangha. And so we are fortunate that Srila Prabhupada and his associates have offered to us that which we would have normally missed. Even staying in India, we would have ended our entire life without knowing anything about this treasure, which is practically the story of the 99.99999% of the 140 crore population of India. They will take birth and they will die without knowing anything, zero, about either Gaur or Nitai. So those who got that glimpse, not just glimpse, but entrance, not just entrance, but the access to serve, they are so fortunate, so rare, so privileged, that we should spend our entire day just thanking Lord Nityananda for sending us his representatives who keep our faith in them alive moment after moment. जय श्री गौर निताय की, नित्यानंद प्रभु की, नित्यानंद आविर्भाव महोत्सव की, गोवर्धन निको विलेज धाम की, आय को प्रेमानंदे। हरे कृष्ण।
Can you just, because you know the history of Radha Vrindavan, Bihari, and later like.
Nityananda is not there.
Nityananda is not there on our
Nityananda is
altar.
always there.
In our altar, he is not there.
You don't see him.
Oh!
Always together.
Anyway, thank you very much for an amazing class. I'm still, I'll try to see it very more careful whether I can see it.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur installed with Radha Krishna. He wanted to demonstrate how is Lord Chaitanya. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahi Anya. So therefore in Gaudiya Math, he would have Gauranga and Gandharvika Giridhari. So that is the deities in this one, no? Chaitanya Math. Now, birthplace?
Yes. Birthplace. Samadhi.
No, what is the birthplace deities? So then Lord Chaitanya is also there, no? So like Prabhupada installed in Kolkata. The Radha Govinda deity is installed by Prabhupada in Kolkata. So along with Radha Govinda, he kept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. So that was the Srila Saraswati Thakur's style. Because people are aware of Radha Krishna, they are not aware of Lord Chaitanya so much. So to make them more aware, that was the idea of bringing Lord Chaitanya. Stand alone. So here, Radhanath Swami wanted wooden, because always it is wooden. Radha Krishna is marble and Gauranga Mahaprabhu is usually wooden. So here also he wanted wooden. He made also wooden. The wooden deity was made, brought and placed right next to the, Radha Krishna diagrams. We made the same size. But wooden we tried and Maharaj did not feel it was the best here. So then wooden was cancelled. We paid for the whole wooden deity. I don't know where it is, Mahabhagat Room, I know where the wooden Lord Chaitanya deity is. Wooden deity was made, brought, we tested on the temple, it didn't work out, so then we ordered marble. Then the marble deities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. which was installed on Kartik Purnima 2016. So that's the history of Lord Chaitanya, taking cue from Gaudiya Math, where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. In Bangladesh also you have Gauranga and Radha Krishna like that. Huh?
Altar is separate altar than God nature.
Huh?
When altar is separate, then God nature. But in Radha Krishna with Radha is only Brahman.
On Gauranga is there? No, yeah, it's common. Gauranga in wooden? Wooden? Wooden, yeah. So that's usually that is the style. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.
How to stop?
Sorry?
How to stop?
This one, I think.
Line.
Yeah, the cross.
Stop.
Yeah, yeah.
What is it?
This
Exit.
end, yeah.